You might as well be brave in this short life. The world is not predetermined. Both you and I are dark horses, however. Burn was the judge's pet dog. Nobody in town knows who he is. He was raised with no worries. He was free to go wherever he pleased. The adorable housebreaking is his catchphrase. Barker noticed a table full of food the day of a family party at the estate. As expected, he took a picture with a chicken leg in his mouth. The table was a shambles. The judge did not chastise him. He simply locked him out of the room so he could think about his actions. He would have lived the rest of his life in peace if it hadn't been for this incident, the lovely Barker. And as a result of this mishap, his dog's life was forever altered. That night, the devious gardener enticed him to the car before slamming the door shut. Barker was scared. It was later revealed that the astute gardener had sold to a dog dealer. Buck realized he'd never be able to return to his cozy home again. He had just been released after a few days of bumps and bruises and was being treated with sticks. When he looked at the sticks in front of him, he knew he'd never be free again. Barker slowly followed the ship to the frozen north. He was ecstatic about the snowdrifts in the sky. He pursued it because he was curious. The man came across a large dog in the park one day, so he bought him with tenacity. A well-to-do dog. He'd never done such strenuous physical labor before. On his way to see a rabbit, he stumbled and fell. To look for a rabbit, he slid down the hill the entire time. Darkness falls, and he is forced to suffer the most. He used to sleep in the warmth of his room, but now he doesn't know where to go to warm up. He had no idea where to sleep. It was bitterly cold. Buck's eyes were then drawn to a black wolf. This black wolf was a sham. He became aware of himself for the first time. He was completely unaware of his wild side. A few more days went by. Barker had settled into his current situation. Sledding is as adorable as ever. The team's leader is a husky. He always consumes food and beverages from his teammates. The pack respects Buck after he saw him give his share to his teammates for the first time. The owner had to cross a sheet of ice one day. Something unusual occurred. The ice cracked unexpectedly. The woman slipped and was carried away by the torrent of water. Buck was in a desperate situation. He dashed over to her and jumped down without hesitation. He saw the black wolf break through the ice for the second time at that point. The lady was rescued. In relief, the man hugs Barker. The collie was not pleased to see the situation. After all, I'm in charge. Buck impressed the master after this experience. He invites him to join him for dinner. The collie noticed it again. Buck came across a small white rabbit one day. He was adorable and adored it. He was then bitten by the collie. Barker let out a few growls. The fierce collie couldn't take it any longer. He had to defend his honor. The fearful Buck had never fought before. The spirit dog knocked him unconscious with a few blows. The dogs on the sidelines barked with annoyance. They appeared to be in love as they attempted to rouse Buck to continue the fight. That's when Buck saw the black wolf for the third time. Buck followed his heart's desire. The wildness had been reawakened. He bit and threw the collared dog to the ground. The collie had been defeated. In silence, he vanished into the valley's darkness. The men will select a color dog the following day. Barker took a step forward, but the master looked at Buck and decided not to push him back. Buck, on the other hand, covered an unconcerned steps. Because gold always shines, the men decided to give it a shot. But with that attempt, the dogs took off like a wild horse off the leash. Absolutely not. In the same division as before. They were shocked to discover that an avalanche had begun at the summit of the mountain. The master requested a left turn, but Buck noticed a cave. Spirit dogs have the ability to make their own decision. Taking the group to the cave? Oh, no. They emerge from the cave in a series of drifts, and they are no longer in the woods. They finally returned to town before the sun set. Barker noticed how happy the people were with their letters and thought to himself that he probably didn't belong here. This devoted father has lost his son to death. He wanted to get away from his crumbling house and forget about reality. He arrived alone in this frozen land early in the morning, just as Barker was about to leave. To stop them, the old man dashed out with a letter. Barker silently took the letter in his hand. The big dog was recognized by the old man. He took out his harmonica. Barker continues to flee. He is now the pack's leader. However, things change. The Postal Service went bankrupt. They were told to sell their dogs to gold prospectors. Their new owner is this greedy Mark. He is a haughty and ignorant man. He has no idea the sled is frozen. Bud was too lazy for him, so he ordered his men to teach him a lesson. The old man came over to help him loosen the sled and warned him that going gold panning at this time of year would be a waste of time. Mark was motivated by greed. He didn't pay attention. Barker was aware of the danger ahead, but he was restrained by the rod. But he needed to lead his team. The old man noticed the harmonica and remembered Barker. He pursued him because Barker was exhausted. Mark was about to fire a shot. Then the old man appears and knocks Mark down, but saved. After 2 days and nights in a coma, Mark finally awoke. The old man informed him that his pack had vanished. "We are the only ones left here." Because his son had died, the old man drank every day. The sensible Barker didn't want to see the old man depressed overturn his glass of wine. Grabbing the bottle and running out the door, burying the wine in the snow, sitting stubbornly on it. He's far too big. He can't be pushed by the old man. Barker keeps his head held high. The old man most likely gave up. He explained that it was his child's birthday. Barker notices and gently presses on the dog, while the man gazes into the distance. That day, the old man seemed to recall something, so he pulled out an old map and informed Buck that his son was obsessed with fairy tale. He had wanted to go to the end of the map to explore when he was alive. There was a gold river and a wilderness devoid of people. The boy, according to the old man, had vanished. But we now have you. Let us all go together to fulfill our final wish. They set out in a boat, passing through mountains and rivers. They moved upstream. The moon lake reflected in the river in the evening. The river is teeming with fireflies. At that point, greedy Mark appears at their landing spot, having spotted the trail. He pursues them in this manner. The old man and Barker come across the flowing waterfall. Oh, this is thrilling. It's fantastic. They continue their journey through the mountains. The mountains and rivers are breathtaking at sunset, almost at the map's end. They kept walking and laughing until they came across a thatched cottage with exotic flowers and grasses everywhere, fresh and light, a clear stream with sparkling waves. It was like being in a fairy tale. They remained. Barker adored the elderly gentleman. He wanted to spend the rest of his life here. When the old man was swimming in the river one day, he discovered something shiny and golden in the water. Take a look at it. Surprisingly, it turned out to be gold. Barker appears to have read it, diving into the river and biting off a larger piece that emerged at the time. But when he looked up, he noticed a beautiful white creature passing by. The longing in his eyes was visible to the old man. He encouraged Buck to go after it, but then turned around and chased after it. He came across a large grizzly bear on the way. He circled away, terrified, until he saw the white creature. His fur was light, airy, and white. It was a stunning white wolf. Buck piques the white wolf's interest. It circles him and looks at him. Barker widens his stride to meet the white wolf. The white wolf pats him on the back and walks away into the jungle. Is this true love? Mark has been visiting the white wolf every day since that day. The white wolf is defenseless. My name is Wolf. You are a canine. When a gray wolf tried to sneak up on him, the wolf spotted a wild boar. He slipped and landed in the river. He embraced a fallen deadlock in the water. The wolves howl around the lake, but none of them dare to go down to save him at this critical juncture. Barker has volunteered to take a horse stance and support the tree trunk. He pushes himself up with all his might. The trunk is being lifted. The gray wolf has been saved. Buck has been accepted by the wolves. The old man notices a subtle change in Barker these days. When it comes to hunting patience and waiting, this is a surprising speed. He was destined to be a king. A pheasant appeared one day. Tomorrow, a large fish. The elderly gentleman laughs at the sight. Buck has been through a lot of trials and tribulations. His wild side has been reawakened. That day, he found his way home. The gold was returned to its rightful owner after the old man threw most of it back into the river. He told Buck that the money was sufficient to live on. More money will not bring you happiness. You must remain here. This is where you should be. I'll leave first thing in the morning. You come to say your goodbyes. The vicious Mark that night. He came in search of the map. The old man's oil lamp fell to the ground in his haste. He started a fire in the hut. He made the old man give up his gold. "Take it," said the old man. "You can't buy your family's lives with all of your money." Mark's greedy personality was revealed. Barker appeared in an instant, leaping out of the sea of fire and shooting the shotgun away. Just as he was about to hurt the old man, Mark extends his stick. Barker had grown out of his fear. He takes a bite out of the stick. He picks up Mark and tosses him into the hut. He was engulfed in flames in an instant. The elderly man was bleeding on the ground. Barker approaches him, showing him a picture of his son and pleading with him to live. Buck and the white wolf cuddled in the early morning light, gazing at the deteriorating cabin. The elderly gentleman had left. Barker used to be a pet dog. He is now the king of this valley, with his own offspring to help his pack thrive. They are unbeatable, fearless. Sometimes we wonder, who am I? What are our plans? The truth is that each of us has our own destiny. Some people are born to be kings. But regardless, if the path beneath our feet is not of our choosing, where does that journey end? And no one is aware of it. Remember to subscribe for more videos like this.